Hi, I'm Ann with Clinton Parkway Nursery, and we're doing a series of workshops on YouTube for this season so that you'll be safe and you can listen to them whenever you want at home. We're at the corner of Clinton Parkway and Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas. So if you're driving by, look for the flowers on the roof. That's kind of our trademark. Today we're going to do a seminar on seed starting. You'll start because you want to extend the season so you can get the plant in the ground sooner so that it'll produce quicker for you. You'll do it because you may want an extra crop. You may be able to get one started early enough that you can get two crops rather than one, like a spring crop and a fall crop. So, and some of them, if you don't start seeds inside or get a plant, you're not going to get a crop because it takes too long for it to mature, fruit, flower, and ripen on that. So, when do you start? It depends on what you're planting. It depends on when you want to put it outside. If you look at the handout, you'll see we have a sheet that'll tell you roughly when to start it inside, when to start it for fall crop if you want. Some of them you can't do a fall crop, but it will. It'll tell you number of days to seed from germination. It kind of gives you a rough guideline. Also, if you'll look on the back of some of your seed packets, it'll tell you. Tomatoes, for instance, warm season crop, start seeds indoors 6 weeks before last spring frost. So it kind of gives you an idea of when to start. And it's generic, so it says from last frost. It doesn't say from April or from May or whatever, because every part of the country is different. So it'll kind of, your seed packets can tell you when too. Containers. What are you going to use for a container? You can use anything for a container. You can use the containers that plants come in. You can buy these buy them, or you can also save them from your last batch, and you have some for the next round. You can buy peat pots that these will you plant in the ground. You just fill them with soil, grow the plant in it, and then plant it pot and all. On these, you need to make sure when you plant it that if there's a lip that's above the ground, you make sure you break it off or bury it so it doesn't come up above the ground, because it will wick moisture away from the plant. These are peat pellets or core pellets, and when you add water, they expand. And then they've got a hole in the top, so all you do is put the seed right in there. You can do it that way. You can do it where, if you have containers, you're going to need soil. You'll find there's seed and cutting soil, which is a real fine mix. If you look closely, I've got the seed and cutting mix in the scoop, and I've got your regular potting soil in the pot, and you can see how thin and fine it is. So those seeds won't get lost or under a chunk of dirt that they can't come up. So that's the main difference between your seeding mix and your potting soil. So you got seeding mix and then you got potting soil on that. So you'll put that in there. You can wet this a little bit. It doesn't matter if you do wet it now or wet it later, but you can put it in the pot, and then you can do this a couple different ways. You could take something like, and I would probably start with something small like this to begin with, and just put the seed right in it on that. Some people will also take, whether it's a tray or an empty tray, they will take and put soil in it, and then grow like a row of tomatoes, a row of peppers, a row of red tomatoes, a row of yellow tomatoes, a row of red peppers, purple peppers, whatever. So then they can do quite a few of them at once, and then what they will do is take those and transplant them either into a peat pot or the individual cell packs. So you can do this several different ways. I mean, you could even use paper cups as containers. So whatever you have as far as that goes on that. So then next thing, okay, when you take and do this, or when you decide you need to transplant into a bigger pot, an easy way to do this is either take a spoon or a pencil or a fork or something and just come up and grab the plant. Now, when you grab the plant, grab it by the leaves. Don't touch the stem, because even though you think you're being gentle, you can squish the stem enough that you can kill it. And then you transplant it. Once you get it up, you can transplant it into regular potting soil. You could use a seed and starting mix if you wanted, but the potting soil will work just fine. When you're done seeding, okay, it isn't up yet. It's going to take a little bit of time for it to come up. So it's going to need, depending on what it is, it's going to need light, and depending upon what it is, it needs heat. And the thing is, think about things sitting on your cabinet, and they're not near as warm as you think. They do make heating pads or seedling mats that you can put underneath this. And what this does is warm the soil so it's warmer. Think about it. If it's a tomato, it's a warm season crop. It likes warm weather. It's not warm in your house. You know, maybe yours is, but if it's 80, 85, yeah, it's warm, but usually we're not that warm. So putting a heat mat underneath there warms the soil so that it comes up a little quicker. Peppers and tomatoes both, but peppers are more so like a really warm soil, and it takes them a long time to come up if they don't have warm soil. So you can do a heating mat. You can put on those, they don't need light to germinate. You could put them on top of the refrigerator, on top of the water heater, somewhere where there's heat coming off some sort of an appliance. You could do that. The minute they start to sprout, you've got to get them in the light. You want they need a lot of light. You can take, and a lot of times when you water, you want to keep them wet, but you want them to be able to dry, because if they get too wet and soggy, then they're going to rot. And an easy way to help hold the moisture in is your domes. That's what that's made for. It just fits right over the tray, and it's kind of like a greenhouse. So then it evaporates, it comes to the top, it goes back down. There's vents on the side of this that you can turn to let some moisture in there. This one is really neat because you can take your plant light, and it's made for the plant light to fit right on top of it. So then I can get some extra light. Lights need to be close to the plant. You know, in the ceiling is not close enough because it doesn't get the light from it. It's basically you've lost it. So the closer you can get to the plant, the better. This is a plant light, so when it's plugged in, it's not hot. It's not going to burn you. If you use a fluorescent light, it's okay, but it's going to be hot. So you need to make sure that you put it up enough so that it doesn't burn the plant. And an easy way to do it is hook this up with chains or something so that you can raise and lower it, because as the plant grows, you'll want to move it up. So that's your light. You want moisture. I don't worry about fertilizing right now. You're trying to get it up and going. As it starts to germinate, you'll really want to probably take the vent off so that then it can dry out, because what will happen is if this stays too moist, it'll have you'll get a disease called dampening off, and what happens, it rots right at the base, and then it rots at the base, it's done. You aren't going to get any more. So, and another thing that helps is to put a fan on them. That'll help dry out the topsoil, but not down below, and so that helps with dampening off also. It also mimics outside. You know, think of outside, it's never still all the time like it is inside. So what it does is mimic the wind so that the plant has a strong stem, so it can, once it gets outside, it can tolerate what Mother Nature's going to give it on that. So, and the water, you want to water thoroughly, but you don't want to keep it soaking wet. Let it dry out. Let it dry out thoroughly, and then water it again. And you can let it go to the point of wilting, and that's not bad, because again, that's going to mimic what it's getting outside. When it wilts, it has to send the roots down deeper into the soil, so then it's ready to go outside. Much better than if you pamper it all the time. So that's it in 4 easy steps, let's say. Maybe it was 5, I don't know. But I guess there's no way for questions. If you do have a question, you could email us or give us a call if you want. And that was round 1 of our seminars for 2021.